Shecanic, and honestly, I'm just as excited as you are. This is a brand new journey for me, so I've been itching to share my passion with you. Yes, you listening in. Thank you for tuning in. Now, before we go on to talk about the segments that we have, let me get you something that you can think about. Did you watch the show on Sunday, the race? I think it was a max race, if you ask me. Chris, Patrick, what do you think? It was a max race.
To be fair, I didn't actually see that race. I was a bit busy actually, so unfortunately I missed that one. Well, why did I miss it? I actually had my mom in town. So I was.
Yeah. And I'm sure the time difference too is a factor. I mean, it was like Lighthouse was at 5. So, you did miss it. But I'll tell you what, I think more or less people were expecting that McLaren, because they have like the fast car or the Aston Martin. But the Red Bulls are onto something. I mean, congratulations to all Red Bulls fans, to Max. You guys did great. What a way to start the season. What a game, what a race, what a win. Congratulations. Now, this is a Vroom, as I mentioned. You're going to have 3 segments on the show. I'm going to tell you a backstory. So, we've always been saying speed ramp. Is it proper to call it a speed ramp? No, it's not. We have been learning the wrong way. It's not. So this is actually the speed hump. So the speed hump, like that of a camel, the hump of a camel. So it's either a speed hump, which is gradual, or the bump, which is very abrupt, like the rumble strips, or very abrupt. So you find the speed bumps at malls where they expect you to stop. So we don't call it speed ramp at all. However, well, let me get there. The speed ramp, you find it on the road, or maybe we're going onto a bridge and there has to be a gradual move inclination from a lower level to a higher level. Then you need a ramp. But ladies and gentlemen, please don't call it a speed ramp. We are in 2025. And if you listen to Vroom, you follow Shecanic and listen to Vroom, you're not allowed. Nope. So remember, this show is for everyone, whether you can name every part under the hood or you just know where to keep your keys. We are all learning alongside you. So please join this discussion. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. I'm sure you've seen the question, the dangers on our roads. Who pays the price? Let's have the discussion on Facebook. We are live right now on Facebook, on Instagram, sending your questions, your opinions. I know you have a lot to talk about. There are many dangers on our roads. There is a lot. Not too long ago, someone parked his car at the mall under a carport, safe. Yes, you'd say, we always see the sign that says, if you leave your car and whatever, it's in the car, you're leaving it at your own risk. But must I come back and see that a whole carport has fallen on my car? Must that be the thing? Who is to blame? Who is checking the integrity of these things? When in a country where we don't have hurricanes and tornadoes, we just have rain. Yet, every now and then, a signboard falls down. It's either killing us or it's destroying our cars. Who is to blame? Oh, and have you noticed that when pedestrians cross the road, they run halfway and walk the rest? Who pays the price? The many dangers on our road. So I'm glad that for this discussion we have an academy of experts that are going to talk more about. We have the legal perspective, we have the insurance viewpoint, or we have the engineer, we have the car expert here with us, and then we have the average Joe, who is just as frustrated as all of us. Now let's move on to our second segment, shall we? For the second segment, we're going to be talking about safe driving tip, and what better way to start by using the rainy season. It started raining. Some of you have already experienced floods, but how prepared are you? You cannot control the type of road that they construct nowadays. You cannot control a lot of things, but what I know you can control are your tires. Your tires, number one, is all on you. Why are you driving a 326 horsepower vehicle, or even now 1,500, as we saw the birthday boy brought in his new toy, 1,500 horsepower? But with such cars, why are you not concerned about your tires? Let me speak to you about hydroplaning or aquaplaning. What is it? So Shecanic, I'm sure you're asking, Shecanic, what is aquaplaning? Maybe I've been hearing about it. What is hydroplaning? I'll tell you. That's why you're on Vroom. I'll tell you. So hydroplaning is when your vehicle loses contact with the road. So water comes in between the tire and the road, which shouldn't be so. The only thing that keeps your car grounded are your tires. Otherwise, a lot of the cars we see in our car would be flying, believe me, because we have so much torque, so much horsepower. We need the tires to keep us grounded. However, unfortunately, as a driver, you cannot control the poorly constructed roads. You cannot control when the asphalt melts and become uneven. When it rains and the water piles up in pools, the moment your car is not able to, your tire is not able to disperse of the water, it starts to slide and dance and wiggle. I'll give you another example. You know, skiing. Skiing is supposed to work on hydroplaning. That's skiing. Oh, you know, when you were young and you were asked to scrub the veranda, you start by pouring soapy water and just try to skate along and have fun. That was you hydroplaning without you even knowing. But now that you're a driver, you don't need that, because when your car begins to hydroplane, you cease to be a driver and now become a passenger, and that's deadly, isn't it? So I'm going to tell you how to prevent it. Now, the number one thing, there are three things you can do to prevent it. The number one is, you should turn off your cruise control. Turn off your cruise control when it's raining or after it has rained. You don't need cruise control. You should be able to have full control of your vehicle. Number two, reduce your speed. You don't need to speed when the weather is harsh. You don't need to speed and put everybody in harm's way. So be mindful of your driving. And number three, you should always rotate your tires or replace your tires. Why? Because the tire threads, what it does is it disperses the water as you drive. So if it's not able to do it, you start getting bald patches. You start getting bald patches on your tires, which is not a good thing. So that is what hydroplaning is. Now, say, oh, Nana, it just happened to me. What should I do? Number one, do not panic. Don't panic when you're hydroplaning. Take your foot off the brakes. As a matter of fact, you don't stop the car or reduce your speed by stepping on your brakes. You reduce the speed by taking your foot off the accelerator. So number one, take your foot off the accelerator, reduce your speed, keep your eyes on the road, and stay calm. That is hydroplaning for you. I cannot wait to move on to the next segment where we get to dive in with our academy. I see lawyer Ansabia. Oh, let's just go on with it. I can't wait to hear from her as well. So the topic for today, the dangers of our roads. Who pays the price? If you just tune in, this is Asaase Radio. We are live nationwide, and you haven't missed much. We're just about starting. Welcome again. Now, with me to discuss this all-important conversation, we have the immediate past president of the Ghana Engineering Association. Please forgive me if I got it wrong.
Association of Engineering.
Oh, yes, there you go. Engineer Kwabna Bempong. One thing I like about him is that he is the resident engineer of the Pokwase Interchange. You see that beautifully executed, beautifully designed interchange. I think so far is the best in Ghana. I mean, I think I might be biased when I see this, but I absolutely love it. And I love it because he was intentional about not leaving heaps of sand along the banks. Instead, they found a way to beautify it and found a way to stop people from crossing the road by the structures they put. So if you haven't seen the interchange, look it up. It's very popular. Actually, it's a rider's favorite spot. So, engineer, you're welcome. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Good evening to your listeners.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're all thrilled to have you. So, next, I would say in Bank 2, we have Madam Anna Essel. Madam Anna Essel is our expert for tonight on insurance. She is with Inclusive Insurance. That's a wing of Hollard Insurance. She has 15 years expertise and she is managing that sector. Talk of a woman killing it in a male-dominated space. So, Madam Essel, thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you for having me. Good evening to your listeners.
Yes, we are absolutely thrilled. And then to Bank 3, it's a voice and a face that you already know, Mr. Chris Kusi. He is one vehicle expert that we all just love to hear from. So I don't need to even introduce him that much. Hi, Mr. Chris, how are you doing?
Hi, Shecanic. I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
It's so good to see you here. Yeah, so good.
As
and
always.
Then for our legal viewpoint, we have none other but lawyer Ansabia. She doesn't want me. She's very, very modest. Doesn't want me to call her lawyer, but yes, we will add it in here and there. So Ansabia, thank you so much for joining us. Ansabia is with the Africa Legal Associates. She is doing a lot. Time will not permit me to talk about everything that she does, but I'm sure as you listen to her, you find out why we chose to bring her onto the show. So welcome, lawyer.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
And hi to everyone.
Oh yes, they're listening to you. And then for the voice of the people, I call him the voice of reasoning. He represents all of us, all frustrated road users in Ghana at the moment. Mr. Patrick Dade is an architect, an entrepreneur, and a road user. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So the dangers on our roads, who pays the price? Who has the money here? I mean, I'll go first. So I mentioned when you go and park your car at a public space, you see the writing on the wall, whatever you park here and the contents. You do this at your own risk. But in a case where a whole carport fell on my car, what are my legal rights? That's one. Number two, if my car is just third-party insured, does it cover my vehicle as well? So I'll start with the lawyer so she gives us the legal perspective.
So in the instance you are parked outside, you are parked in, let's say, the mall car park, and you see, or maybe a building, and then you see the signage saying park at your own risk. You're supposed to.
I'm sorry.
We all see the sign, but I mean, we don't expect that a carport will fall on the car. I mean, yes, we know a thief can break in, but isn't that why the shops at the mall charge so much? Because they are paying for, security and all the other services. So, yes, we put out the sign, but there must be some legal.
Exactly. So usually we throw it to the insurers.
Right.
Yes.
So there's no legal implication.
There are, if sometimes the signages are not so glaring.
Right. Okay.
So if you have a signage that isn't glaring, then you do not have notice
right
of park at your own risk. But if it's a glaring signage, then you'd have to take their word for it. Okay,
so what Masabia is saying is that, please, for the victims, go and see if the sign was glaring enough. If it's not, take a photo and then maybe you might have a case. So, Hannah, do you want to speak to that?
Oh, I thank you. you know, so, I mean, in Ghana, even currently, every commercial space legally has to be insured. It's passed. Every commercial space needs a fire insurance. in there's something we call public liability. And so what we are discussing falls under that. And so every commercial space, you owe whoever comes in to do business with you, whether park their property by way of entering your space. It might not even be your vehicle that is spoiled, but you might slip. There might be some wet floor you might not even see. Under the law, whoever operates that space is liable. However, in this country, we take some of these things lightly. But under the law, every commercial space, this is emphatic. It is not about whether or not it is in between. It is emphatic that every commercial space has to be insured. And so if you do not have insurance for your space, you are using a Xtra Mall, for example. I know they have a PL. There's a public liability in that space by way of whether it's the owner of the property, which is the building. But even the owners who operate in that space needs to take up insurance. And so when you do that, even a standard commercial fire, which is legal, has PL component in there. And so typically when you insure your shop, there is a PL component in there, which is the public liability that takes care of other, which is the third party who might have to be in your space. So either it's their property or you as an individual. When you visit those spaces, you need to be insured. And so one of the unique things we are even currently doing at Hollard is that we are driving one product we call the Asumdue insurance. Asumdue is basically for the SMEs. We know that typically a normal Makola woman selling will not go out there and say, I'm going to take insurance. But we know that these things happen. And so we are saying that with as low as 360 Ghana cedis, a shop owner can insure their stock for 50,000 cedis. They can go ahead and have a PL of 10,000 cedis to the third party. And then also even looking at your workers who work with you. And so it is something we cannot undermine. And that is why we are driving this, so that we can penetrate. We want to have a time where every commercial shop or operating space has insurance. So covering fire, flood, burglary, every other peril that comes under it. Or of course, what happens within our space mostly, it's fire, is the theft, is the burglar, is the flood, and then most of them. But it is standard and it is covered. And so when you find yourself, today we have a lawyer here, if you find yourself in somebody's space by going to do business and your vehicle happens to be damaged, you yourself happen to slip, you can take the person on because the person needs to have insurance to take care of that cost or that liability.
So, Mr. Kusi, do you want something? You want to say something?
Yes, it's a good thing that even in Ghana we actually do believe in superstitions and in the spiritual realm. So when they say your house no good, you know, it's for a reason. But on a serious note, she's absolutely right in what she said. And from what I understand, you know, the incident that happened in the not too distant past, the mall in question was covered by insurance. And like she said, even small businesses, even in our little business, we have public liability insurance. We took that on and it covers everything that happens within our premises. And also we even went one step further to even have professional liability insurance. So yes, all those things do exist, and she's absolutely right.
You know, I would commend the management of the malls because they've come out to say that anyone can present their cost of expenses and they are willing to pay for it, which is brilliant. I would
absolutely.
I would commend them.
Mall did very well with that.
Yes, we don't see that in recent times. So now, Patrick, I saw your facial expressions. I know things are a bit different where you're from. So Patrick lived a lot of his life in London, in the UK. So I'm sure he has some different perspectives. I mean, moving away from even insurance, the daily annoying issues that happen, the dangers on the road. Tell me about it. How was it for you today? Let's use today.
Today, like I said, I drive out of the house, and honestly, blood pressure rises. Like it's insane, and I find myself asking the question: is it that they know and they don't care, or is it just like a lack of knowledge?
So like who's they? Road users.
Road users.
Oh, right.
Drivers.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, and I keep asking myself that question: like, what is it? Which is it? Because, and as we sort of briefly discussed, roundabouts, for example. Honestly, I don't think I've come across anyone at any roundabout that actually knows they're right, like understands what they're supposed to be doing. you have people on the roundabout, in some instances, stopping for people joining. It doesn't work that way. And so for me, like, it's quite frustrating because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that. And if, in some cases, you're driving you're on the roundabout, someone's joining, and they sort of push their way in, and then they give you this look like, did you not see me coming?
Yeah,
thinking,
that is something else.
Well, on the upside, at least you're giving your heart a workout. You know?
So this brings what I want to ask Engineer Bimpon. So what engineering thinking goes into the runabout? Case in point, in Kumasi, just before you get to Ejuso and Tech Junction, there are a series of runabouts which all have bottlenecks. So it's a 2-lane, and then it moves to it being 1 lane. Why? Because they chose to put some gravels or stones, cemented stones. Maybe it's aesthetics, but what goes into the design?
Well, thank you very much. I know specifically what you're talking about. There are 4 of them, and they used to be just the normal roundabouts when they were completed. But then there were challenges with big trucks, which obviously sometimes are overloaded, and when they try to maneuver the roundabout, they fall on their sides, and this is also probably due to speeds. So the university, that's KNUST, and the Ghana Highway Authority, came together to redesign those roundabouts. So you would find out that for those who move, through, they just have to go, directly through. Then those who are turning would have to go to the right, and then that's where you find a single lane, and then they'll go into where we have the roundabout and then turn. When it comes to general, design in engineering, you have to deal, and I'll make it very simple, with load and response and probably material. But in this case, the load is the traffic. What is the throughput? How many vehicles are turning? That then determines the type of intersection that you design, whether it's going to be a roundabout, whether it's going to be an interchange, whether it's going to be a traffic light intersection, or just a junction without any traffic lights. So these are the considerations that go into the design. This has to do with the volumes. How many vehicles are passing through a particular intersection in an hour? How many are turning right? How many are turning left? So these are the kind of considerations that would go into a typical design of an intersection.
I strongly believe, and I know this for sure, that there's an institution that's supposed to check the weight of these heavy haulage. So
Sure.
why is that somebody is not doing their job, yet the engineer has to now do a makeshift? But let me put that to rest.
Okay.
Now, our LED lights, if you've noticed, Ghana, Oxford Streets, is trying to look like Times
You mean
Square.
the street lights?
Yeah, no, not the street lights. I'm
billboards.
coming there.
Okay.
I'm coming there. The Dankwa second intersection.
Yeah, sure.
We're trying to make it look like Times Square or maybe the Hollywood Boulevard. However, I don't know if Ghana Outdoor Association, Advertising Association, go by any strict safety code, because these LED lights, the one on the Spencer's Road, I'm not going to mention the church. The one on Spencer's Road, it is, when I get there, I just want to put on my sunglasses. The Dankwa Circle, right at the intersection, it blinds me. I'm sure, Patrick, you've had similar experience.
Yeah, the thing is, and I found myself asking, is there no regulatory body that because it's blinding? And I mean, apart from a safety aspect, there is a health aspect to it, which is anyone with epilepsy can be triggered just by that. Is absolutely blinding. It's way too much. During the day it's fine, but at night, it's not
Okay,
it's not right.
Yeah, so probably just to come in and when you spoke to me about this, I decided to, of course I know that there are laws, and I decided to find out from the MMDAs what they do. Now we have the LUSPA law, the Land Use and Spatial Planning Act, that is LI 2384. That gives very clear indications as to how, and there's even a section on advertising boards or signs in general. It is very clear as to what one needs to do. It's part of the planning process. You need to go through a process and get a permit before you install these signs. Now, even at intersections, you are not supposed to have this, the LED that you talk about, these very glaring lights that gets into your eyes, and doesn't even matter if it's during the day, and how much more in the night. When you get to an intersection with such glaring, you cannot see, because in the driving space, you need to see and you need to be seen. So if you have such glaring lights in your eyes that you cannot, even when you are driving on a highway and you have the lights of the opposing vehicle in your eyes, you cannot see. That is even another story for another day. So they are just flouting the laws. And you see, if you go to, you mentioned AAG, that's the Advertising Association of Ghana. Not all of those advertisers belong to them, because they, at least I know, that they try to curate the law and ensure that their members go by the law. It's just like having engineers in Ghana. We have so many engineers in Ghana, but not all of us belong to the various associations. We have currently 2. Okay, but there are regulatory bodies, and then the assemblies also have bylaws, and the bylaws are very clear.
So who should we hold accountable? And then can we take up legal legal action against whoever he would mention?
You see, who to take, and this is a responsibility issue. The assemblies are required to regulate the space. They have bylaws. Yes, somebody goes in, he just puts in a signboard or a very huge billboard without permit. Yes, they might go. When I asked, he says that when they see that, they go and pull it down. But what happens thereafter? Who pays for it? I remember, on the Pokwas interchange, whilst, months after we had completed, there's an electricity line that was constructed not too long ago, after the construction. And this is a 33 kV, line. And what happens? Somebody goes in and puts in advertising, billboard, which is almost close, getting to the line. These lines conduct electricity. You don't need to touch the electricity lines before the power flows. I have seen it happen many times. We were working, they were erecting a street light. We did not get to the line. And this is physics. I don't want to bring electricity and all those things. There's certain flags around the electricity line. And then those guys who were holding the metal pole, well, shocked. Well, let's say electrocute them. But then they were lucky it didn't kill them. you get it?
Wow, there are many dangers on our roads.
Yes. We have a 330, which is the highest, kV line, around. We have this, gone by all the rules and everything in terms of the height from the pole to the lines. But those poles were conducting electricity. So can you imagine somebody just putting this, maybe there's lightning, it strikes, and then it gets into, somebody probably might be leaning on it, that person is going to die. So the rules have to be enforced. And if these rules are not enforced, well, then we are in a jungle. And that is what, my good friend was talking about. Because there are rules that govern the road space. There are laws.
So, Engineer, I'm going to stay on you a bit more. When God said, let there be lights, obviously, Ghana, we didn't get that memo. It's still very dark. Ghana is very, very dark.
Yeah.
So when we just cite, now that we know it's not called speed ramp, a speed hump. Actually, in Ghana, it's a combination of hump and bump.
And then we have what we call
how we even constructed it's like everybody just bring a block, bring mortar, bring this, and let's put it together. That's one. Now there's no illumination for you to see that there's something, an obstacle. I'll call that an obstacle. There's no light for you to see, and then you just chance on it. Why are we not holding people accountable? Who is to blame? Is it a municipal? Is it a design flaw? Do people even have any meetings with you? Do you help them in the design? Do they even bring you in? Is there synergy?
Okay. Now, when, again, it comes to the road space, roads are designed. Now, what you are talking about is where you have, again, this is when there's no law. Well, I don't say there's no law. There are laws. But when people seek to break the laws by constructing their own speed humps.
Why are we allowing this to happen?
Well, that is a different, a different conversation. But then, in terms of lighting, yes, not every road or street is lighted. That is That is even the motorway. But there are all other reasons. Even for those ones which have been provided with street lights, you have these hoodlums stealing the cables. We completed the Pukwase interchange about 3 years ago, and at a point, a lot of the cables have been cut. For what? For copper.
So would you say it's a case of we not having punitive measures? Because we have the same people in Cote d'Ivoire. I entered into Cote d'Ivoire, and from the entry to the exits, well lit. Yeah. There are human beings there. They could be stealing too, but they are not. Yeah. So is it a case of we are just not being punitive enough? There's no accountability. Recently, I saw a video of someone who had gone to steal the speed hump sign, and he's going to sell it for 100 cedis. Like, why are we allowing this? So much mediocrity. Yeah. And then I want to ask lawyer Ansabia, has anybody ever filed a suit or won a case against the state with regards to what we just discussed with the engineer?
Not really. It doesn't happen, because usually when accidents occur, it's usually between two people, one car hit the other, or in the instance where it's even just your car that fell in a ditch or something, you have people going straight to the insurer instead of knowing that we should not have open ditches. It's the responsibility of my municipal, metropolitan or district assembly to ensure that the road is in a good condition. So anything on the road or by the road, drainage systems, are all the responsibilities of our MMDAs, and they fail to maintain them in good condition. So for that reason, you'd fall into a ditch, and instead of, you can actually take up your MMDA for failing to maintain the road, failing to cover a gutter. But then
maybe let me help here. Let me help the MMDAs here.
So insurance.
The MMDAs are not responsible for all roads.
No,
there are urban roads. There are highways.
Exactly.
And we have the Ministry of Roads and Highways who have oversight responsibility for these agencies. That is the Ghana Highway Authority,
exactly.
the urban roads, and then the feeder roads. So just a point of
we have to, should I say, if I would categorize them for the purpose of this discussion, we have the urban roads, we have the trunk roads, so we have the major roads like the Tema motorway. Then we have our feeder and urban roads, which are under the jurisdiction of the MMDAs. The highways are under the jurisdiction of the Ghana Highways Authority. So if something happens on an urban or a feeder road, it is the responsibility, it falls under the jurisdiction of the MMDA. If it happens on a trunk road.
I'm sorry, when you say MMDA, you mean I should go to the assembly office?
Yes, please.
Assembly office.
Assembly.
Yes. Okay.
So if it happens on an urban road or a feeder road, an urban road is usually a smaller road, and then you have a feeder road. Those are like a road in front of Asaase.
No, this is an urban.
An urban road, yes, and then a feeder road is just a smaller.
Well, it may not. Is it the classification of roads is not based on the size of the road.
Okay.
Okay. Usually, you would have the urban roads within the urban centers.
Yes.
So, like all the roads within Accra, Kumasi, in the big urban centers, will be under the jurisdiction of the Department of Urban Roads. However, I'll come there. Within some of these areas, we have, like you mentioned, the trunk roads, which we would call the national roads, the IR. There's a we call it IR, maybe from one region, interregional roads, and then regional roads. Okay, so those would fall under the Ghana Highway Authority. But even whatever it is, whichever nomenclature would use, I think that the most important thing is that somebody is responsible.
So the first port of call should be the assembly.
It depends on the road.
The assemblies have road units, and you rightly mentioned the urban Department of Urban Roads. Now they've made some, but it's not totally. It's not totally.
Not for every assembly.
Not for every road.
Yes.
Yeah, not for every road. But then they have the urban roads which are managed by the assemblies. But you see, the assembly issue is also another. They don't have the wherewithal to even undertake maintenance of roads.
From where I sit, what I see is the system is built such that I won't even know where to go to.
Where to go to? Okay.
And the system is thriving on that and benefiting from that. Because why in a country like Ghana, why do we have a lot more New Testament books, New Testament Bibles, more than we even have our constitutions? Because it's to their benefits, maybe, to keep us in the dark. We don't know who to go to. We don't know where to go to. We don't know who should be accountable. So yes, listeners, if you just tune in, this is Asaase Radio. We are talking about the dangers of our roads. Who pays the price? Who should we hold accountable? If you're following us on Facebook, send in your opinions, send in your suggestions. I would like to hear from you. Please, I'd like to know from you, Patrick, who do you report to in London? Something like this should happen. Who do you go to?
What if there's issues with the road, the
Yes.
council? So every borough has got a council, right? So as I explained earlier, like I said, say you fall in a pothole, or there's or you've got a bus stop shelter that's been damaged, you can report that to the council, and then they will either pay out. So if it's your car that's damaged, they'll pay out to get your car sorted out. Or if it's a shelter that needs to be repaired, they send out guys, technicians, to come out and then get it sorted out. And like I explained to you as well, you don't actually have to jump through hurdles to get that done. Whereas, you see, because then that information, literate or illiterate, is made known to everyone. Everyone knows what they need to know.
How? In schools, churches?
Everyone
How?
knows, yeah.
How did you come to know?
Well, myself, I'm actually really into cars. So then I for myself, being an avid road user there, I just I know these things. But then it is information that's available, whether it's online, the Gov website, you can go into libraries, you can most of the time, there's signs almost everywhere. If you're here and then this sort of issue, you find out that you have this problem, this is the number you contact, it's everywhere.
I think just to add to what he's saying, on a few occasions, you'd actually witness the council taking on maintenance task on these roads and on these facilities. So you would see it. It would be badged as maybe Brent Council or another council proactively working on these facilities. So it's almost public knowledge to know that if there's something wrong in your council or in your borough, you would be able to reach out to the council for them to repair it.
It's interesting you mentioned that it's public knowledge. The way the private companies advertise their products, as a matter of fact, the way political parties advertise their products, we don't get that same thing with things that should be of public interest. I don't know if you all have different opinion about this. So is it the NCC's job to educate us? Is it the MP's job to let us know who should we hold accountable?
You see, when it comes to that, again, I feel like it's somewhat selective. And when I say selective, in the sense that, so let's say we're talking about voting, for example, and the message out there is, let's have a peaceful one, no violence, blah, 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 all that. And they will get that message out. Whether it's in English, Tree, whatever it is, they will get the message out. That's why I say it's selective. Because then if anyone's argument is going to be, well, we are giving that information out, but some people don't understand it, it's because you haven't made that effort to make sure they understand that information. And you're being selective about that.
Without sounding too political, in defense to some of these institutions, they have a big budget problem. And if the budget isn't there to do the maintenance work, why would you allocate a budget to let people know that, hey, come and sue us if we're not doing the right thing?
That was a good one.
Last year, when that is Honorable Asaase came in, and I'll talk about maintenance in general, but then he came up with a road maintenance app. I don't know if any of you ever saw that.
No.
It's called Maintain My Road. I downloaded it. It's CR with a.
I think I heard about it.
Yeah,
but I didn't download the app.
And there's somewhere in the.
We heard about Jack. Where are you?
Jack, where are you? Okay, so there's this Maintain My Road app, basically to help in engaging our stakeholders, because like I always say, we do not construct the roads for engineers, neither do we construct them necessarily for politicians. We construct roads for the people, to be used by human beings in Ghana. So if we are providing a product and we don't get feedback, but the question that someone asks, don't we see? We all see, we all know it, and you are right. Budget. When you say budget, okay. Now there is the road. Forgotten the name. There's an earmarked fund, road fund. You see, once I say fund, then the name comes. There's a road fund. I guess we all know about that.
Yes.
Road fund, and the mainstay of road fund was for the maintenance of roads, but it was capped. But the good news is that just this budget decapped it or removed that cap. What that means is that we would use road maintenance fund or the road fund to maintain roads, because that was the main thing. It was not supposed to be for development projects. When I mean my development project is starting a new road, from afresh. It was for that pothole. It was for that ditch cleaning. It was for that grass cutting, routine maintenance, and that kind of thing. That was the purpose. Of course, we have other types of maintenance activities, but basically, they are the small foxes that I always call that destroy the vineyard. If we can tackle those small potholes, which may not cost $20 million or cities, that has a huge benefit as opposed to doing those big things. So that is where we are, and I'm hoping.
It's interesting how you mentioned that.
And I also realize that the current administration, especially with the new minister, he's also interested. He's an architect. He's also interested in maintenance, because why would you provide a facility and you don't maintain it? And I always use the issue of giving birth to a baby. If you give the birth to a baby, the baby is not just going to grow on its own. It's going to get sick. It's going to get hungry. It's going to get cold. You need to provide, for it.
Stay on that word. It will get sick. Now, beyond the Pokwase interchange is your Kumasi stretch. Very dusty. They are getting sick. A lot of the road users are getting sick from effects of road dust. Who do we hold accountable? Is it a contractor? I mean, now you sit in for all contractors in Ghana and all engineers in Ghana.
Well,
who should we hold accountable?
Okay. Well, you see, now I'm on the spot because I am also the chief resident engineer for that road project.
Brilliant.
Now,
so I can hold you responsible.
Well, yes and no. But then the whole idea is that the contractor has ultimate responsibility. Okay, and when I say we are consultants. Our role is to ensure that whatever is in the and these are things which are in the contract. You see, the challenge that we have in Ghana is not that it is not written. We have many laws.
Oh, yes.
You bear me out.
Enforcement.
Thank you, Sabia.
And even when you are enforcing, if the contractor listens to you, you are good to go. But then if you are not getting the kind of cooperation that is required, yes, you write all your letters. What are you going to do? Are you going to beat him up? You probably wouldn't. You can do the necessary
budget.
Oh no, that one is not budget. For road construction, it is not budget. It has been budgeted for, and the contractor is supposed to, undertake.
But has the contractor been paid on time?
Okay, well there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. That is a different. Yes, but you see, they have responsibilities, and those responsibilities. But the good news is that they are back and they are doing what they have to do.
So, do you have any insurance packages that covers health for people of that residence? Health. So, whilst the engineer is waiting to get money from above to complete the road, is there any insurance that the people can try and benefit from? So, I have access to healthcare.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that you wait until a road causes dust to you, or however causes you to fall ill before you think of insurance for yourself as an individual. We have a health insurance for everybody that is available. There's insurance for everything. I mean, in Ghana we have insurance for everything. Everything in Ghana is insurable. However, it's the mindset is for the rich. Insurance is for the rich. It's expensive, and so people don't even want to find out. Typically, you don't have to wait, like I said. And so there is health insurance cover and we have a lot of them on the market, and then we can engage them. Currently, we are not underwriting health insurance directly, but there are companies that are doing that, and so that engagement can be done. You let them know what you are looking out for, and then they can cover you. Because even our national health insurance, we all know where we sit, and so it is important for individuals to think of that.
So this, I'll bring it back to both the legal points and then back to the engineer. And I'm not talking about just the regular, I need paracetamol kind of healthcare. This is respiratory, caused by the municipal, or it's caused by the road not being completed on time. Do you have some sort of insurance package for people who come and say, hey, Mr. Bimpo, because I live just 2 minutes away from what you're doing, my son is vomiting blood, and I've been to the doctor and it cost me X amount. If you don't pay up, I can go to Ansabia and say, Ansabia, can you help me get some money? Is there something like that?
I think I want to address that. I think it still boils down to our public liability.
Yeah.
When they are contracting, they have that.
Correct.
Everybody has that duty of care. Whoever you are doing anything, you have that duty of care to anybody who has no relation to what you're doing. So yes, there is insurance for them, and so you have to follow that. And so they are responsible.
They are
contractor,
responsible.
Yes.
You have to look at even.
Oh, for a minute, I thought you were going to talk for him.
No. So even when you are erecting,
Yeah.
the engineers say no.
Yeah.
We have erection or Rex. We have all of that. They are available. And so it is unfortunate that the public do not know where to go and how to even address it.
Oh,
That was going to be the next thing I say.
This is exclusive to Vroom. So if you're listening to Vroom right now, Madam has made us aware that we should hold our contractors accountable, because they should have insurance that covers us.
Yeah.
So please, from today, go to your assembly, go to the contractor, hold his shirt and say, Mister, you owe me some few pesos. So I said,
but you see, I think that is true. We have all risk insurance. We have all types of insurances. But then you see, those insurances are for acts that can be proven. If you talk about if you cannot prove it, because otherwise the insurance company would
a broken vehicle can be proven. You lost it. The vehicle is because of that pothole.
During construction. That would be difficult.
So let me say this. In insurance, you see, okay, so you can have a vehicle. You have comprehensive insurance. You drive to maybe A and C, or a shop, a mall. There's an accident. Or you even drive to a garage. My man here, he has a garage insurance.
Yes.
You do, right?
Yes, he does.
So to the vehicles that come in and all of that. At the time of loss, maybe there is flood or there's fire at the garage.
It's happened before. A different garage, not his.
Yes, you have a comprehensive insurance to your vehicle. And so typically you have that conversation.
Yeah.
But at that point, the insurance that overrides the other is the garage insurance.
Can you replace the override with another word for my listeners?
Okay, so there is one policy at a point might override the other, depending on where you are using the. So for example, if you park your car at
supersede, maybe she wants to.
Okay, so supersedes or however, I take my car to his garage. I leave it in his care. I'm not driving it, and so it's with him. His garage catches fire. He's liable, and so whatever insurance he has should take care of it. Do you understand me? So I'm coming back to the insurances we might have. It depends on what you are looking at. I have comprehensive insurance. Maybe I carry your goods and it fall off at the time I was doing that business. Your comprehensive insurance doesn't cover the goods that fell off. There's an insurance that you need to get at a time of loss. And so these are the things we need. I don't know if I'm making sense. Does it make sense to
I'm
you?
even learning.
Yeah.
So because I will not, that comprehensive cover will not cover that loss at the garage. I don't know if you understand me. Typically, you might want to come to me and say, my car was here and it was damaged. But because of that insurance he had, that is why there's garage insurance.
Okay, so in other words,
what about if he doesn't have insurance?
Then we are
that's illegal.
Then he becomes personally liable.
He's liable
because he should understand that once I bring my car to his garage, he owes me a duty of care
straight away,
as she said. So if, like also in the contractor case, where he's constructing a road, right? you should know that ideally dust will, as you're constructing, there will be dust. And if there are people in your environment, there are people close to you, you owe them that duty of care, because in law we call them your neighbors.
Asabia, I absolutely love how you put it, duty of care. So this is what I'm looking at. So those very low ground clearance toys we have on our roads, they come in and the government almost punishes them for buying these toys. The custom duty on it is, they owe us a duty of care. So if I'm going to Kumasi and I decide to take my Bugatti Chiron, they owe me a duty of care to make sure that I don't ruin my lip spoiler.
Exactly.
Right? And the engineer,
I think that's
I have paid my dues every year. I pay my insurance every year. I pay my roadworthy.
No. Okay, you see that might
So
get.
they owe me a duty of care.
That might get a bit tricky.
He has
The
insurance.
municipal, the assembly, the engineer.
In constructing a road, I'm sure there are some measures, there are standards of care you should take to ensure that the road isn't dusty, is well constructed.
Ultimately, he needs insurance to cover.
Yeah, so if he doesn't have the insurance, because he owes a duty of care, he is going to be liable.
I also want us to get it right. What I'm talking about, when you're on the road and you bump into a pothole and then it drifts you off the road, it is not a contract. No, that insurance falls on your comprehensive insurance. We will pay.
Yeah, but
we will pay.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the
That
case,
shouldn't
though.
be the case.
Because the thing is, what happens is by doing that affects your premiums.
Exactly.
Which
You
means that
become
you
high
lose
risk.
because you're making a claim. So it means that now that affects your no claim bonus that you would have earned by not making a claim.
And I like
And that's the
fact that
problem.
I like the way you say, if I have 1,000 clients like you, I'm in business. So it's exciting. But we are in an environment where that is where we look at. And so
Exactly.
you insure your vehicle against.
When you say environment, is it mediocrity? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you see, your interest as a vehicle owner when you purchase your vehicle is to look at the fact that what if my car is involved in an accident? Would I want to bear the risk? That is what we are. We are supposed to bear that risk. We are just risk bearers. And so we are supposed to bear the risk of whether or not that Bugatti you have on the road should be involved in an accident. You come to me and I pay. Okay? It should catch fire. You come to me and I pay. Somebody, you park it somewhere. It gets stolen. It proves it's stolen. I pay. That's why you take up comprehensive insurance. This does not extend to your third-party insurance. Let me get it right. So somebody will not come to Holland and say, I insured my car third-party and so no. This insurance is your comprehensive insurance that will take care of your baby for you. The other side, on the comprehensive insurance you have also done, you have some sense of liability to the third party on the road. And so that vehicle that is oncoming, you, however, whether your brake failed or whatever, drove into that vehicle, you have that responsibility or that liability falls on you. And that is why there is a third party liability cover on your comprehensive cover, as and when you also fall into that. And so when you, by way of running into somebody, there are times where people come and say, I've had these instances where electricity poles around, let me give you a typical example, around CFAO Stretch was pulled down by a vehicle that we insured, a truck, and we had to pay, So some of the government institutions actually follow up on some of these claims. You see, so I think the discussion is more of we should know education. So insurers, public service officers, the engineers, everybody needs to let people know that this is what you need to do. Somebody, like you said, has to be responsible. Who is responsible when this happens to me? That is the conversation, actually. And so it is important to know where you need to go. Unfortunately for us in our space, most of the time when they come and you tell them what is in there, then it becomes, I didn't know. And so that's the mindset of the public, that insurance will not tell you everything. They come to you and then
Fine
you begin.
print.
No, you see.
You see, it's not in the interest of the person who is going to take the hit to inform you. It's not in your interest as an insurance company to say, okay, if this happened, comes to me and charge me for it. I don't think I'll be the first person to be doing that if I was in that line of business. And of course, when it comes to other things, in Ghana we have the culture of you should be grateful. So if your road is dusty and they are fixing your road for you, you be like, hey, at least they're doing my road. So what? Let me just be quiet and ride the dust like that.
But you see, there's something that I was on TV yesterday. I was saying something that, look, when a road is under construction, there are rules. You see what we experience on some of these, and I'm not holding brief for any contractor who does that, but some people do not realize that once you are in, and this is I will come to what causes accidents. There's the environmental or the road factor. And you have to respond to whatever you have on the road. If the road has gravel, it's not asphalt, you don't go driving 100 kilometers per hour.
Yes,
you have to take your time. Right. And you have signs saying that this road, you drive at 30 kilometers per hour.
But where are the signs?
There are signs. We provide signs.
We
provide temporary signs.
Hardly.
Oh no, that I can be.
Maybe
because
on
on my road,
you might see one or two.
The only challenge that comes.
Your road.
Well, okay. It's general. Yeah. It's general. But then road signs are provided. I know that sometimes we have challenges through theft, especially when you use metal, signs. Okay, they happen a lot. But now we're trying to go in for timber. You see bamboo.
I want to firewood though.
No. What you're saying is true. Whatever you do, but then it is our duty of care. We have to provide it, whether they steal it 10 times or that. But then human behavior. If it gets to a point, you say, "Oh, look, I provide this thing," and then they steal and all that. But then, so far as we are concerned, you have to provide it.
So let me ask this question. So you replace it multiple times, and then it gets to a point you're thinking, I've done enough.
Yeah.
But then, you see, at what point do you say I've done enough compared to what you would have to pay out if something happens due to a lack of the presence of that sign?
Well, that's what I'm saying, that we don't give up. We don't give up. So then you want to find alternative means of ensuring that those things are not stolen. And that is where you have security. But look, let me give you another example. The motorway.
This has to be said in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, motorway. Every time the lights are fixed. I don't know whether anybody of you have noticed. They are fixed within a short time.
They're stolen.
They are stolen because the cables are stolen.
We see all these dangers on the roads. Who pays the price? This has been interesting. Okay, folks, so that's all the mileage we can cover for today on Vroom. On behalf of the entire production, I want to say thank you to our guests, the immediate past presidents of the Ghana Engineers Institution. Forgive me, Mr. Engineer Bimpong, Madam Hannah from Hollad. Great perspective. Mr. Kusiapia, I always love it when I listen to him. And then Ansabia with our legal brains. And then Mr. Patrick Dade. If you missed it, don't worry. It's on our Facebook page. You can catch all the interesting and intriguing conversation. But yes, we will continue this next week with a new set of guests. There are a couple of issues that were raised, and then I'm sure the conversation will go on in our homes and our offices. There's one last thing I've noticed with the road construction, the Tama. They create a bus stop just along the highway. That's something I want to talk about next week. It's a real danger. So, folks, thank you for tuning in, and we're out.